my name out either.
Good morning. Sam, do you need a couple of minutes?
So do we have him for odd counter, Martin Timer?
Sure.
And we need a grammarian still.
All our earns?
Arms?
Yeah.
Awesome. So we have the technical table.
Prepare to the technical table.
And you just don't want us next to each
Setting up, yes,
Is that correct?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I need to evaluate to Eric Edmond.
So you're evaluating in this place?
No, I'm evaluating.
Evaluator Steven, did you find yourself an evaluator?
I think it's
So
Paul,
Ernst Grammarian,
assuming that Erica
Timer,
doesn't show.
odd counter. So we all said, good morning, Lake Mary Toastmasters.
Good morning.
I call this meeting of Lake Mary Toastmasters Club 6440 to order. Before we start, remember 50/50s is being handled by Ernst, and we are planning to have a lucrative day. Before we proceed with the meeting, please silence your cell phones. I would like to ask everyone to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Our club mission is to provide a supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster this morning, Samuel Bailey.
First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone for filling in on the positions. It's very rare that we have all, or just about all of the evaluators filled and not our technical table. So that was a nice flip-flop this morning. So for the theme of today is summer is out. And with this, we have a number of different challenges that occur. Oh, I'm sorry?
School is out.
Or school is out, excuse me.
School is out.
School's out. See, that is part of the challenge right there. We automatically start losing our minds and forget everything we've learned throughout the summer. And many of us begin to start to travel. And that's one of the first speakers we'll be talking about today. She has caught the travel bug. She was working on speech number 4. Yes. Oh, I got to introduce my technical table. See, this is what Toastmasters is all about, learning how we are supposed to go along with things.
Yep.
So let me start out with the grammarian, Mr. Ernest.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters members and guests. As grammarian, it is my function to select a word of the day, which is lucrative. We help build members' vocabularies. Each member, when called upon to speak, is encouraged to use the word of the day, which is lucrative. Other members may gently rap on the table when they hear a member use the word. In addition, I will be listening for any errors in grammar as well as excellent word selections. I will also be noting any colorful thoughts or phrases members might use. During the evaluation period of the meeting, I will present my report. Mr. Toastmaster.
Now I would like to move on to our timer, Martin.
Good morning, everybody. I have the lucrative role of knocking over the line.
You get paid for that.
Nice try.
My function is to time the speakers, evaluators, and table topic participants while doing table topics to ensure that they meet the timing requirements. I will demonstrate the timing lights, which will be displayed as follows. For our speakers, Stephanie and Macarena,
Let's start with the green.
the green is 5, green is 5, the yellow is 6, and the red is 7. For Stephen, I believe the green will be 3, the yellow will be 4, 3:30, 4
Yep.
for the red. All right.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Let's change that up a little bit. And our evaluators, we'll see the green at 2, the yellow at 2.5, and you're out at 3. All right?
All right.
Let's go.
Well, it looks like I am not the only one who will be taking a lucrative learning experience from this today. Last but not least, we have our R counter, Mr. Morgan.
Good job.
As all counter, it is my job to take your money. Oh wait. As all counter, it is my function to listen for the use of filler words such as you know. They're all capital. Okay. And other audible pauses of fillers. I will be noting if members perform any double clutches, which means to say things twice, such as this means, this means. Finally, I will also include things which might be distracting, such as lip smacks. I will present my report during the evaluation portion of the meeting.
By far the most entertaining R counter.
He's learning well. School is out.
Yes, it is. Alright, now jumping back to me skipping over the technical table, I would like to introduce to you a speaker whom is rising in Toastmasters. She is signed up as a support for our Sergeant of Arms, is starting to go through her Competent Communicators Manual, if I'm saying that correctly?
Yes.
Awesome. And is now working on the force speech. Please help me welcome Macarena.
Thank you, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. So, imagine you're in the jungles of the Dominican Republic. Ooh. And you arrive to a hole in the ground. And you decide to rappel down this hole to a cave. You're at the base of the cave. And the only way to get out of the cave is to hike through the cave.
Oh.
Now, during this journey, you're bound to encounter bats, flooding, and diamonds on the wall. Now, if you're not really into the whole cave, dark, spooky kind of environment, picture yourself lost in the city of Rome with only a paper map as your guide. If cities overwhelm you, imagine yourself riding through the hills of England, past the rolling sheep until you come across a prehistoric monument called Stonehenge. Okay, this isn't a movie that I'm writing or a script for a book. These are actual experiences that I myself went through while traveling abroad. Many here have probably read about adventures or destinations through books, textbooks, but in my opinion, traveling is not something you can read in a book or in a classroom. It's something that you have to live and experience. There's so many wonderful benefits that can come through traveling abroad. For example, when I first traveled abroad, I really came to know culture. Now we know living in the United States of America, we're the melting pot of the world, and we encounter culture every day. However, it's not the kind of culture that you experience when you travel abroad. For example, when I went to Italy and to England and to the Dominican Republic and to South America, I was able to encounter culture that I've never experienced here in the United States. I was able to taste the food, talk to people, see amazing buildings that I've only seen in textbooks and art class. I was able to touch and feel and smell. One thing, the pizza in Italy is nothing like the pizza here. The pizza in Italy is so fresh. And putting Parmesan cheese and cracked pepper is a big no-no over there. It's a big sin. So don't do that if ever you go. It's an experience that you have to live through, that you have to go through, that you have to step on the ground, encounter the people. Before I even traveled, I was super shy. I was very insecure. I was a flower that had not yet blossomed yet. When you travel, you're forced to talk to people because you're lost. You're completely lost, and in order to get anywhere, you have to communicate with people. Now, most likely you're not going to be able to know the language, so you really do have to try to force yourself to say the basic language of the Italians or Spanish and ask for directions. Ask for whatever item is on the menu, ask for food, ask for whatever you need to get to where you need to go or to get what you need. Another great benefit of traveling is, another great benefit of traveling is it allows you to be more open-minded, to open your eyes. While living in America, I started to encounter, this is before I even traveled, I started to encounter a lot of people that had certain ideas of traveling. The French are to this, the Italians are to that, South Americans are to this, the Latinos are to that. And you really don't really see the truth until you go and experience this. Mind you, you have to remember that these are people's opinions. People that have probably never even traveled before, that see the news and assume that this is what a culture or a country is like. Actually, they may be completely wrong. It's something that it wasn't until I actually stepped on the land and I got to encounter the people and see how friendly they are, how wonderful they are to the people that come, to the tourists, and are more than welcome to help anybody that comes along. Now, I understand that a lot of people here may not have the opportunity to travel abroad, may not get the opportunity to taste adventure, because whether it be family, finances, or certain personal situations you may be dealing with, there are plenty of ways to experience adventure here in the United States of America. For example, take a trip to the Grand Canyon. I did this when I was a teenager with my family. Another adventure you can do is go tubing down the Delaware River. George Washington crossed the Delaware River. How awesome is that? There's plenty of opportunities here in the United States to seek adventure, to seek ground you've never stepped on. Every year, I challenge you, go somewhere new. Go somewhere you've never been before. Taste food you've never tasted. Meet people you've never met before. Whether it be here in the United States, in the Caribbean, in Europe, in Asia, you'll come back a completely different person, completely changed. I know the hardest part of it is booking the plane ticket. But I'll tell you from experience, once you book that plane ticket, it's done. An adventure awaits. Thank you.
Such a spirited adventure. I did not see that coming there. 1 minute on the clock, please. Our next speech is with someone who has been with us for a very long time now. Stephen joined Toastmasters in 1997 as a charter member of the Harris Speak Easy Club in Melbourne, Florida. A move to Dallas led to a year hiatus before Stephen joined the Carlton Toastmasters Club, and on his return to Florida, joined Omni Toastmaster Club in 2001. The next year, Omni sponsored Lake Mary Toastmasters Charter, and Stephen joined Lake Mary in October 2002. He later joined Central Florida Facilitators in 2004. And in 2011, he chartered and mentored the Safe Words Club in Orlando. Now, in his 13th year as a member of the Lake Mary Toastmasters, he is a past club treasurer, the immediate past president, and current vice president of education. Since he has been here to see all of the history, Stephen is also the de facto club historian. Today, Stephen asks us all to commemorate a new monument in the history of Lake Mary Toastmasters. Please welcome Advanced Toastmaster Gold, Stephen, who is starting all over again.
You begin with those two manuals, Competent Communicator, Competent Leader. You have to do the 10 speeches to finish that Competent Communicator. You have to do the 10 projects to get the Competent Leader. That's where it all begins. But that isn't where it ends, although sadly, maybe 3/4 drop out before they even get to the Competent Communicator. But you do have more to go beyond that, because once you finish that, you get to pull out the advanced manuals, 5 speeches in each. Finish 2 of those and you've got your Advanced Communicator Bronze. 2 more and a couple more speeches and you've got Advanced Communicator Silver. Then you have to do 2 more, give a seminar, mentor a member to get to Advanced Communicator Gold. That's the communication track. There's also our leadership track, which started with that Competent Leader. But after that, take a club office, get trained in that, go through that whole process of being a club officer, and learn from that experience. You also give a couple speeches along the way in there. That'll get you to Advanced Leader Bronze. After that, Advanced Leader Silver. This one is the one that trips up a lot of people. That's the one I haven't finished. You have to do the High Performance Leadership Project, which is you're leading a team while you have a team that's essentially evaluating you. You also have to sponsor or mentor a new club or coach a struggling club back to charter strength. And you have to serve as district office. In that district office means you're taking a year from July to June. Area governor, division governor, one of those types of positions typically. In the end, you have to give 47 speeches prepared, plus holding all those offices, from when you enter to when you achieve the Distinguished Toastmaster status, which is when you've gone all the way down the communication track and all the way down the leadership track. In the history of our club, the first 2 Distinguished Toastmasters came from the 2 people who mentored and sponsored our club. That was our first president, Kevin Dunn, and who was our mentor, and Wayne. Now I'm trying to remember now. Wayne, who had been our sponsor at the time. Their starting Lake Mary Toastmasters was what they needed to achieve DTM, which they credited to their original clubs. The first DTM that actually came from our club was Stephanie. The second one that came from our club was Julia, just this last year, which Julia finally got to do the DTM walk, since she hadn't made it before. At the district conference this past weekend, where you finally get a nice little medallion you get to wear, and then you get to show off at all the future district conferences and any opportunities you can. Yep, it's the little Toastmasters logo that they get to show. That's where it all ends. Well, not really. Because, well, what are you going to do once you've gone and done all 47 speeches, served in all these offices, mentored all these people, and done all these projects? You You start all over again. All the way back, Competent Communicator and the Competent Leader Manual. You do not have to finish before restarting. I've gone through the Competent Communication Manual 11 times at least so far. But in order to get another DTM, you do have to start all the way at the beginning. And it is my proud privilege this morning to say that we do have our second Distinguished Toastmaster to be presented for Stephanie Bonnie Byrne for doing this all over again.
Speech.
I'm speeched out.
Yeah.
Wake up there, Muttley. You're dreaming again. You're not Robin Hood and you're not Gunga Din. You're not a brave knight or a king with a crown. You're just plain old Muttley, a snickering hound. Who remembers Muttley? Dick Dastardly, Yankee Doodle Pigeon. Muttley was the sidekick of Dick Dastardly. He was always bailing him out and helping him out, but he never got any recognition. He got no respect. Do I identify with Muttley? In a way I do. It's not that I don't get respect. Every now and then I do. What it is that he was a dreamer. And in his head, he was a hero. He achieved all types of lofty things, much like I do. Things that I can't achieve or manage to do on my own or won't. I dream about doing it. But there is one place where I can come and do something, excel, finish it, do it as I like to do it any way I want to, and that's Toastmasters. The only place I know where it's an ongoing, an almost perpetual, eternal self-improvement program that you can tailor to your own situation, to your own time frames, to your own goals, and make it work for you. And along the way, inspire and help someone else. Yes, I identify with Muttley. Watch it someday. Muttley has a story to tell. It is funny. Distinguished Toastmaster. That's the PhD in the Toastmasters world. Now, if you think lately you see a lot of them, don't think it's a common thing because, as Stephen said, 3/4 of the people don't make it through. They don't achieve it. There are some people who have done it 5 times. I know you say get a life, right? And they have lives, rich, fulfilling, rewarding lives, and Toastmasters is a big part of that life. I was so happy, even though this was my second time. It was just as rewarding, if not more, because the first time I was under pressure to complete it by a certain deadline. When I was running for, trying to be nominated for division governor, the nominating committee sits there and they say, what are your plans for completing your DTM? I didn't know it was a requirement. So I hurried up and said, by the start of the term. Then I was under the pressure and I was compelled to get it done by July 1st because that's when I would take office if I was elected, and I was elected. 3 years to the day that I started, just about to the day that I started Toastmasters, I achieved the first DTM. This one took me another 5. It was relaxing, no pressure. I could do it at my own pace. I was so happy to share the runway, the walkway, when we do our DTM walk of congratulations with Julia. Because when I was division governor, Julia was one of my area governors. We took this division that had gone down below any kind of measurable records, and we brought it back in a few months, well, just about a year, to President's Distinguished. Julia, along with four other area governors, Stephen's wife, Susan, and our current Mary Carroll, district governor, was one of my governors at the time. The dream team, I called it. Not only did we bring it to President's Distinguished, we actually kicked off and charted a club within 24 hours. The deadline, making the deadline for June 30th by minutes. We were processing applications through Dennis Woldridge all through the night. And I was taking things that I didn't, from over here, Kinko's putting it on those drives and sending it to him. We were overloading the system. We weren't the only club trying to beat the deadline. But California could only take a few at a time. And guess how many applications we had for this club? Over 60. That many people at one time. It was unheard of. Too bad they didn't continue. They didn't have the dream, the vision, the drive. It was a corporate club, and they were only doing it to gain favor with bosses. When the boss left and went out of the country, they disbanded. They didn't understand the value of Toastmasters as individuals, not just from a workplace point of view. I was able to use Toastmasters not too long ago in a zoning hearing in my neighborhood. They were trying to put a cell phone tower in the middle of our neighborhood that is not zoned for that. They wanted a variance. And people spoke. We were given 3 minutes. And when I went up, I thought of table topics. I've got to hit my points, and I've got to make it effective in this short amount of time. They were cutting other people off, and I went and I hit them, and I was so glad. The other side caved. They gave up. It was defeated. The lawyers walked out like that, and people came to me and said, "I can't believe you did that. You're a lawyer, right?" I said, "No, I'm a Toastmaster." And it felt good. It was fun. I had a good time doing it. With all of the value, all of the respect for the people, all of the relationships that you meet, maintain, develop along the way, I can't think of another organization that I would spend that kind of time and that kind of commitment with. And will I do it again? Yes, I will, because I simply love it. Mr. Toastmaster.
As we develop in Toastmasters, we also develop with our kids to learn to put sunscreen on them. If you do not, you will quickly see the 50 Shades of Red. For our next portion of the meeting, we'll be moving on to our table topics. And this, for all the people who have been sitting back and relaxing, beware, it's your turn. Please help me welcome Martin. Oh, guest.
Give Tony a break.
Thank you very much. Talking about school is out. I knew school was out this past weekend. My wife and I took ourselves to Washington, D.C., and as we were walking around the mall, I saw something that I will never see ever again in my life. I'm in Washington, D.C. Do you know what that is? For the first and only time in my life, I saw a school teacher with 6 of her students all holding hands as they crossed one of the busiest intersections in the city. And you might say, "Oh, well, that's not a big deal." But do you know the average age of those students was about 3 years old? Amazing. Nothing I will ever see again. But if you can imagine a school teacher and they have their school crossing guard on with 6 little ones, all like little ducklings. Anyway, I thought I'd just bring that up. And school is out. Talking about school is out. Richard, our guest, would you like to? Tony.
This is
Richard, Is school out right now?
Yes, yes, thank God.
What was the best and most thrilling summer vacation in your life? Carrie.
My summer vacations as a kid were spent typically in Michigan. We went to visit relatives. That was our summer vacation. We spent 2 weeks. We went to Detroit and then we went over to Grand Ledge, which is outside of Lansing. Every once in a while we would go to, my uncle had a cottage up near Cadillac, Michigan on a lake. If we weren't doing that, well, I should say, as well as that, we also moved a lot during the summer. So that was how I usually spent my summer vacations, were either in Michigan or literally moving from, we moved from Jamestown to Buffalo, Buffalo to Cleveland, Cleveland to Cincinnati, all over the summers when I was in school. So this is what I remember about summer vacations.
Thank you for sharing, Carrie. Through our lives, we have great ones and poor ones, ones we will remember and ones we will forget. Alexandra, please describe one of your favorite teachers growing up in school.
Mr. Table Topic Master, I do remember my third year teacher, Raquel, to remember her name. She was in Venezuela what we call language art. Language art is here, over there is Spanish, Español. And she was my inspiration to start reading books. She introduced us to, I don't know if I can translate it, the Metamorphosis from Frank Kafka. Those kind of book, 100 Years of Solitude from Garcia Marquez. And she's the one who has this charisma, and being kids is, reading is boring, but she made it fun. She introduced us to all these kind of literature and with enthusiasm, and she put at our level, and that's how I started reading, and I love reading because of her. So I have very good memories of Raquel, my teacher for second grade. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. Studies show that the amount of time we spend in school can boost our knowledge and our IQs. However, here in the United States, kids get a huge summer break. Paul, as someone with kids, do they get enough summer vacation or too little?
Table topics master and fellow Toastmaster as well. I'm glad you asked me that question because I have an answer for that one, so it's nice and easy. I have two twins, boy and a girl, who are 8. They're finishing second grade, going into summer vacation, and it was actually my dad that gave me read some articles and told me about this, and he just found that apparently a big difference is what happens over summer break. They found that, during school, everybody's around the same pace, but it's those that do get some learning over summer break and reinforcement of some of those topics that really start to excel. And so, while I think it does still speak to a summer break, and I think as adults, we miss those summer breaks, and so I wouldn't take those away from the kids, but I do feel that it's important to put a few periods of learning and trying to get them ready for the next year every summer. Thank you.
Do we have time for one more question? I believe that we do, so it would. Last one. Okay, great. For my last question then, I recall a song growing up. School is out for the summer. Anybody hear that? Anybody remember that song? Yeah? Good song. All right, we all have some favorite songs for summer vacations and or school. Maybe Hot for Teacher Is it better? What's your favorite song related to school or school being out for the summer? Tony, would you care to?
All right, Tony.
Alright, I'm very glad I got picked for this topic because I'm not very good at songs. But the first one that popped up into my head, because this is what I learned in improv taking in classes, whatever comes to your mind, just say it. For some reason, when you said summer and a song, I thought of in the Karate Kid movie, Cruel Summer. I didn't have any cruel summers, but that's just what came up. I always had amazing summers growing up. She said she's, went out of town. I would do things like that. My grandparents used to live in West Palm Beach, so we'd go down there. Some summers we would go to cruises to different places. One time I went to the Virgin Islands. Another time I went to Mexico. I would love to go on a cruise again, because I haven't done one since I was like 13 or 14, so that would be fun again. I know I picked the song Cool Summer, but it's the complete opposite. I always had amazing summers.
Great. Who's up? Toastmaster.
Yes, sir. For the next portion of the meeting, we'll be going on to the evaluations. And this is the educational portion of Toastmasters, where the speakers receive feedback from the speeches that they did so that they can further improve not only their self-confidence, but speaking capabilities. So with that said, I would like to welcome our genuine evaluator, Ms. Karen.
We're going to get right to our evaluations and evaluating Macarena Torres. It's our first evaluator, Julie Hoffman.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our welcome guest, Tony. It is with super power pleasure that I get to evaluate Macarena. Macarena, if those of you don't know, is a colleague of mine, and I was happy to bring her into our Toastmaster Club family. And wow, if you would have gotten paid for this speech, you would have gotten a lucrative paycheck. You stunned me. You blew me away with your speech. I saw you, I'm almost getting emotional. I saw the shy, quiet person blossom into the person who she really is. She got up here and just knocked it out of the park. You gave this adventure awaits you with such vivid words that, was everybody in that cave?
Yes.
Did you visualize it? Did you see it? I did. It scared the crap out of me because I was Man, you did so well on this speech. Her project is speech number 4, how to say it. And so she was tasked with using words to describe vivid picture words, and she painted a picture all the way throughout your speech. You had phrases like a flower that had not yet blossomed in terms of your shyness and getting out of your shell. You had words like imagine yourself walking through the halls of through the halls of England or hills of England. You had words about culture, the melting part of the world. Taste in the food, talk to people, see the places, touch and feel and smell. Experiences you have to love to go through. I just can't tell you how proud I am of this speech and how you got up here. You nailed your project, every aspect you used, vivid words, you didn't have to use notes with the exception of one time. So here's a tip on here. Stephanie did the same thing, and you didn't notice the difference. What she did, when she needed to refer back to her notes, she simply just came up here and just glanced at it, which is perfectly fine. Not everyone's supposed to have, no one is supposed to absolutely memorize a lot of their speeches. You can go up here and refer it as part of your whole speech, like incorporating that, even though you didn't plan to do it, you fake it, right? What you did is said, I'm sorry. Never apologize. You don't need to. We're thankful for the speech you gave and the message you gave us. At the end, you said adventure awaits you, which is a beautiful recapping of your title and everything that you described about how valuable taking vacations are and how much you'll receive in the richness of seeing other cultures and traveling abroad and then even within the States. I loved it, really proud of you, and I really can't wait to hear your next speech. Thank you.
Our second evaluator today is Paul Walsh, and he'll be evaluating Stephen Morgan.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Stephen. And Stephen was given his project number 4, presenting an award in the special occasion speeches, and ironically, I see here I gave him the same evaluations back in July last year for the same project, so yes. So I copied. I'll just read. We did But Stephen gave a similar, actually, description, but he's a great historian of the club, and he's been around for the whole time, and able to give us a lot of perspective that most haven't heard. And I think once a year is great to refresh our memory about the 2 founders, and the fact that there have only been 2 DTMs, and for those that haven't looked into it and got past their CC, it's a lot of work even beyond the CC, even though it's great to get there. He described the 2 tracks about the communication and going to the advanced communicator bronze, silver, and gold. He described the 47 speeches, which I had rounded to 60 when I haven't looked at how many I had to do, but 47. But I had estimated it'd take me about 5 years, and I'll be lucky to get it done in 5 years at this point. But he forgot to describe the $1,000 reward for each DTM.
Very lucrative.
I gotta say it. It's very lucrative. No, that's just. But I'm sure by each DTM it comes back to you. Yeah. I'm sure it's very rewarding. The only thing I would have suggested was I didn't even know who he was giving it to until the end. I'm sure that was part of the suspense. But
Yes.
but I would have thought maybe, because I'm amazed at any DTM, and the fact that she did it twice is, only thing that could have helped me would have been to describe it a second time, go through it a whole second time, just like she did, to kind of overly emphasize just how amazing it is to have done a DTM a second time, because just once to me is awesome. But I really enjoyed his description of the award, and really felt, I guess the best part I would say would be the sincerity. I know, you mentioned before, you know how much time commitment it is to do one of the district offices, which has held you from getting to DTM, so I'm sure really appreciate being able to do it twice and how much time she gives to the club. But I really appreciated your giving that award, and look forward to more speeches. I always enjoy yours.
And evaluating our third speaker, Stephanie Byrne, is Gus Davies.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guest, and Stephanie. I believe this was a lucrative opportunity. Maybe we have to share those awards money with me.
Depends on the evaluation.
To be able to evaluate you twice as good. You really hit the mark. I think there was a great transition from, I had the suspense not knowing what award Stephen was presenting, but I like the smooth transition from Stephen to Stephanie just coming up here, and Toastmaster did not need to introduce the speaker. You moved in very well. I heard you say the gratitude, the appreciation you've had for Toastmasters over these years. And I can see that and I can feel it. even just watching you on YouTube this past week, what was the topic again of our speech at the Mirror Mirror? To just watch that and then see you come here and receive an award in a very humbling manner. Because it says here, did the speaker appear comfortable, gracious while accepting the award? You certainly did. You were very grateful and you received it in a very humble way. Another question that goes with this evaluation, how did the speaker recognize the organization presenting the award? All of us heard what Stephanie had to say about Toastmasters. The years of coming to a club and all the people who mentored her and others, the accomplishments they've done in Toastmasters. I heard you also say, Stephanie, that you use Toastmasters in your homeowners association. I mean, how many of us we go to those meetings and be able to think about, this is going to be a table topic, and people come up to you and say, are you a lawyer? I'm a Toastmaster. That was a great answer for them. Twice as good. To do the DTM, the PhD of Toastmasters twice, how many people get a PhD in the same subject? They always change their careers. What I will say as an accomplished Toastmaster, I try to find something to write out, this is what you didn't do well, is why did you bring up papers here? You did not need to have papers. She told me before the meeting, she's just going to read it. You don't need to read that. Yeah, you don't need to come up with any papers or even have your reading glasses. Twice as good. We feel that and know that you model Toastmasters to us. So twice as good, probably you need to go for a third time in your PhD. Well, thank you for doing a great job. I tell everyone, and I tell Stephanie this over and over, you're a great model, you're a great example for all of us to stay in Toastmasters. And I'm General Evaluator.
Now I'm going to give my evaluation of the meeting. The room is set up great. Looks great. This is your first time as Toastmaster, right?
Yes.
You did. It was a good job. The only one thing that I'll say is there is an action